Welcome back to the Dr. Polucki Family Health Hour on AM 1220 KHTS, your hometown station. In today's show, we've been talking about our Elegant Aging program, specifically our Better Bones protocol, and we're privileged to have the co-owner of KHTS, Jerry Cerati Goldman.
Hi, Dr. Polucki.
Hi.
Can you hand me my phone because I left the ringer on?
Bad radio, guys.
I didn't follow the rules coming in the door.
So, the first two segments, I talked about the real issues when it comes to osteoporosis, and a lot of people are misled, whether even in conventional and alternative medicine, that the answer has been for years, oh, you need more calcium, and that is just not really the issue. There's a few things that really affect osteoporosis. One is that inflammatory lifestyle in your diet, toxicity issues, including medications that we just talked about in the last segment, are huge contributing factors to not allowing the internal workings of the bone to stay as healthy as possible. Now you combine that with too much sugar in your diet, and it's a formula for disaster. And the main reason that sugar plays such a big role is it is the main fuel for inflammation and cortisol. Cortisol is a master hormone that is devastating to bone health. So high stress, not eating right, and the final kicker is not moving a lot, not getting out and really stressing those bones in a good way, but sitting still in front of a computer at a desk job and then not eating right and then having to deal with all of that, and your idea of a weekend is just laying down and trying to relax and recover for the rest of the week. It's a formula for disaster. Women get an extra kick on top of that because they start losing estrogen. And if you lose estrogen prematurely because of a hysterectomy, either partial or total, it's just a perfect storm. And almost every woman in those situations, it's not going to take too long before their DEXA score, which is the gold standard, the diagnosis for osteoporosis, is they take this x-ray of your hip, and if you are 2.5 standard deviations outside of a normal, healthy, young adult bone structure, you've got the diagnosis of osteoporosis. It comes right down to that. So that DEXA score is pretty much what people are watching, and then their options on how to deal with it in both conventional and alternatives are not great because they're not addressing those contributing factors: the sugar, the inflammation, the hormonal imbalances, and the reappropriating stress in your body. Most of the osteoporosis drugs that are out there are all in class action suits because of really nasty side effects and their inability to deliver on the promise of you're less likely to fracture with this stuff. So, what has your experience been with osteoporosis?
Not a good one, but then I discovered Dr. Polucki about 14 years ago, and it was life-changing. I was on the once a week. I've been on, first of all, I had an early hysterectomy in my late 30s for having years of endometriosis, and it was a total. And at that point, they put me on hormones, and I lived on hormones until the studies came out. Heart disease, I said, okay, I can handle heart disease in my older age. But then it was Alzheimer's, and it was like, oh, heck no, not doing the Alzheimer's. And I went off hormones. But the doctor had me on an animal-based hormone, which then that worried me. So I went off cold turkey. At the time, I lost a lot of my hair. I had gained 10 pounds that I still, to this day, struggle to get off. And then I met you. And I was still on the once a week, Boniva, or whatever it was. I've tried many through the years, the once a week, the once a month, craziness. Met you, and you said, oh, heck, get off this right now. Your bones, I'll never forget this, are going to start turning to chalk. So I got off that, went to you for my hormone replacement, but it was a little too late. So years ago, I started probably, I'm looking about 8 years, where I break and fracture every 6 months. And it's always my ribs. So it doesn't matter, You know, the latest one was in January, and I was rushing to go out on a Saturday night, and I can blame this one on my husband. He let the dog in wet, and I slipped on the floor and went right down on my behind and cracked a rib on my back. And, you know, I'm very active. So blessings on this one. Over the last, because I have advanced osteoporosis, I get checked every year because it's usually every 2 years. My hips are okay. It's my spine that they're saying, oh, you shouldn't ski anymore, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. You not only saved me from getting off the osteoporosis, you've gotten my body totally in check with hormones. I still struggle with sugar a little bit, but getting much better on that. Sorry, just saw someone walk in the door. Distraction. The big thing that has changed is you encourage me, and you have them in the office, a vibration platform. And I stand on that sucker. It's a little thing that vibrates probably 30 minutes now a day while I'm watching TV. And my last scan, she's looking, my endocrinologist is looking at it, and she goes, God, something's really weird. You've plateaued, and you shouldn't really plateau because I'm in my mid-50s until you hit your 60s. What are you doing? And I snickered because I was just waiting to see what it would do. I think it's changed my life, this vibration platform, along with healthy living, doing the hormones. I work out 3 to 4 times sometimes 4 times a week at Ballacor Fitness doing weights. I do spin, but the vibration platform has done something to my body. And I don't know how to explain it, but the doctor was shocked. She sat there and goes, well, I've never heard about it before. And that's where I have an issue. I know that I have to do these things because I fight a lot of what the traditional medicine wants to do, but I fight it. I usually take and go get their advice, but on this one, it was like, I'm not taking any pills. A year ago, 2 years ago, the doctor had asked me, not asked me, he wanted me, because my spine is so bad, and I ski. We ski, we bike ride, along with the working out, to do a once-a-day shot into my stomach that you can only take once in a lifetime. And the copay on it was like $1,500 a month. And as I talked to you, it was like, don't do that. Look at you. And that's the last thing you want to do. Just keep up with the vibration platform. I take very little calcium. And I've just followed your protocol, and it's changed. Woohoo! High five. Knuckles.
Okay, when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about that vibrating platform and how it changed your diagnosis and changed your life. You're listening to the Dr. Polucki Family Health Hour on AM 1220 KHTS, your hometown station. Welcome back to the Dr. Polucki Family Health Hour on AM 1220 KHTS, your hometown station. Today's show is part of our Elegant Aging program, and specifically our Better Bones protocol. We have in studio our guest and KHTS co-owner, Jerry Cerati, speaking about her experience with our protocol. So prior to the break, you mentioned a few things about your history and how you've been dealing with osteoporosis, mostly conventional medical approach for many years now. And then you started our Better Bones protocol. And right before the break, you mentioned what a difference the vibrating platform, the whole body vibration has made for you.
That and the hormone.
And the hormones. Of course, the hormones
yes.
are critically important, a major player in all of this. So let's talk a little bit about that, if we can, in the next 5 minutes. What are you willing to talk about as far as the hormones and what that has done in your life?
Well, I would love to share the hormones when, going off cold turkey. And when I lost my hair, I didn't realize that this was happening because of the hormones. It's been since I've known you that it's empowered me to study and get to learn my body. And what I've learned is that the early hysterectomy has caused so many issues: the bone loss, thyroid nodules. I wasn't on hormones, and I got your protocol of the liquid hormones that I do every night before I go to bed, and it's life-changing. It's my mood. I'm not so short. you know, I'm a much happier person. Much happier person.
You're welcome, Carl.
Yeah. So that, along with the eating healthy, and, you know, I eat very healthy, I believe, but sugar's always been an issue for me. And so now knowing the toxicity of sugar, I'm cut way back. I'm a lot better, and I know that I can get a lot better. But I also know that if I'm 55 and can do what I can do with the protocol that you've set up, with the hormones, some of your vitamins that I take, and the vibration table, I've got doctors scratching their head going, what the heck?
Yeah.
And I chuckle.
Yeah.
You know, as they're saying, well, you really should go on something. And I said, well, you've seen what the last year's brought me. So let's go another year. You know, and then it goes, well, you really shouldn't be skiing. Well, you know, I'll see about that. You know, I know when I fall, I've got to be very careful. I actually fell last weekend in Mammoth biking. Couldn't get out of my brand new clips for the first time. And I was able to fall in a way, I knew it was coming, so I was able to fall in a way that I put my arm out, which I know is bad, but it didn't involve my spine. So being proactive and staying really active, but that vibration table, that's my best friend.
Right. So let's talk about that for a little bit. I introduced that to you about 2 years ago, give or take.
Yeah.
And you actually got one, you took one home.
Yeah, I'm on my second one.
Yeah. So
I gave one away.
So the idea is you stand on this little platform about maybe twice the size of an old record, if you're old enough to remember vinyl, about twice the size of an old record, and the thing just shakes and vibrates, and it actually tickles your nose. So you know it's getting through your whole body, but it's not like a jackhammer. It's not like you can't hold a conversation.
I multitask on it.
Yeah.
I go through emails. Yeah.
So this thing is just gently shaking you, and I have this one set because it's not the extreme mode. It's not the ones you find in the boutique health clubs. This is a home version of it, and it's mild enough that you can do it for up to 10 minutes at a time. It shuts itself off at 10 minutes. The really intense ones, they're in like 30-second intervals, like anywhere from 10 seconds up to 30-second intervals, and you hold a position like a yoga pose or something like that for about 10, depending on what you're working for anywhere from 10 seconds up to a minute, and it is a serious workout when you do that. But that's not really what we use it for. I do use it for rehabilitation, especially ankle, knee, hip, and low back, because it works. It's beautiful for that. But the real nice thing is that that gentle vibration is the perfect frequency, the perfect oscillation, the perfect amount of physical activity on the bones where you don't really have to do a whole lot to actually see a change in the bone health. And you are living proof of this.
Yeah, absolutely. What a blessing. I mean, what a gift that, you know, I tell people about it all the time. They don't quite understand it, but I'm living proof that there's no meds. I haven't been on anything because, as you said, the once a week, once a month turned my bones to chalk, but now I'm changing it.
Yeah. Just to give you an idea, I've been saying it all show long, but I really want to clarify this. Putting calcium in an unhealthy bone does not make that bone stronger. Osteoporosis is a disease of unhealthy bones, not of calcium deficiency. Calcium deficiency does cause a problem with bones, but it's not osteoporosis. The internal structure, imagine that there is a framework inside of a bone, a network of a spider's web of tubules that transmit nutrients and vitamins and give the internal strength of the bone. Osteoporosis is a disease of that structure, not of not having enough calcium in that structure. So if you take away the internal reinforcement, the internal strength of a bone, and then just pump a bunch of calcium in there, it's an absolute formula for disaster.
Well, now they're finding also that calcium is leading to hardening of the arteries.
Hardening of the arteries, aches and pains, problems in the joints, problems in the cardiovascular system, problem in the cerebrovascular system. It's just not a good idea to just across the board make a recommendation that everybody needs more calcium in their diet. Some people do need some more, but the overwhelming majority of women, because of this misinformation handed out there for the past 20, 30 years, are way overdosed on calcium, and it's causing a lot of problems.
Yeah.
We'll be back with our final segment. You're listening to the Dr. Polucki Family Health Hour, AM 1220 KHTS, your hometown station. Welcome back to the Dr. Polucki Family Health Hour on AM 1220 KHTS, your hometown station. So today's show has been part of our Elegant Aging program, particularly our Better Bones protocol. And we, again, thank you, Jerry Cerati Goldman, for taking time out of your busy schedule to share a little bit about your personal experience in turning around osteoporosis. It's not real common to hear that, especially when you're not doing it by the rules. You're not taking these drugs that pump calcium into the bones, as we learned that is really not probably the best approach towards getting better bone health, less fractures, more strength and more flexibility in the bones. It's a better approach to actually improve bone health, and that's why we approach it that way. Our Better Bone protocol is all solely focused on improving bone health, getting the maximum integrity of a bone and giving it its flexibility and strength and durability, instead of just finding ways to pump more calcium into it. This is part of the program that I'll be discussing today at the at the Annex in Friendly Valley. If you're available at 2, you can come and meet me in person at Friendly Valley Annex. It's our Elegant Aging workshop. It's free. There's no charge. And you can come and learn some stuff about how to really make the best of your golden years and avoid devastating illnesses and costly hospitalizations and problems that are just accepted as part of the natural aging process. There's nothing natural about that. It's all a matter of choices. And, you know, we live in interesting times. There's more information available to us now than ever before. Anyone on the planet, anybody with a smartphone, no matter where you are, can index more information than ever before. And I'm old enough to remember when there wasn't an internet. When, if I wanted some information, I either had to look up something in the encyclopedia or go to the library. And now it's as simple as taking a look at your phone and checking in and seeing what is really out there. So much to the point now that we're starting to challenge our commonly held beliefs. I mean, there are still some old guard, some medical doctors out there who still think that I'm speaking voodoo and cultist, but they are falling by the wayside as more information is out there and good science is replacing bad science, BS, and the obsolete knowledge that people consider okay. People consider that if they can get out of bed in the morning without too many aches or pains, then they're okay. Or if they can get through a day of work and be able to put a roof over their head and food on the table, then everything's okay. Or a lot of doctors still believe that if it's not going to kill you today, then it must be okay. And that's just obsolete knowledge. It doesn't work that way. Americans spend more on healthcare than every other country in the world. I had a guest on, Dr. Hugo Rodier. He's a professor at University of Utah, a medical doctor, a couple weeks ago, and he gave me a staggering statistic. $750 billion a year are wasted in the American medical system, treating 10% of the medical conditions when 90% of it could all be avoided by better lifestyle choices. What kind of thriving lifestyle choices are you willing to change in your life? Or are you willing to do? Are you willing to eat more appropriately? And I gave you some tips on how to do that. Really pay attention to how you feel an hour after you eat something, not while you're eating it. Are you willing to hydrate? Are you willing to drink half your body weight in water? Throw out the sodas. Forget about the soft drinks. Forget about the vending machine. Half your body weight in whatever you weigh in pounds. Say it's 150 pounds. Are you willing to drink 75 ounces of good quality water a day? Are you willing to get to sleep by 10 p.m. every night? Are you willing to be asleep between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., the most critical time, repair time that there is? And whether you get 6 or 8 hours is not as critical as being asleep during repair prime time. Being asleep between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. is what's really going to make the difference of your quality of life. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to put 20 minutes a day in some form of exercise? Make it as fun as possible, but some form of exercise that takes your breath away and gets you a little sweaty. Are you willing to do that? And are you willing to come in once, twice, let's say twice a month, 2 10-minute visits a month to get a tune-up, to get a checkup, to make sure that all of the structures are lining up and working as smoothly as possible to reduce the physical stress and strains in your body, and make sure that you are getting the right kind of stresses in your body, that everything lines up properly. Because if you're willing to do that, then that's all it takes. And it's only $75 a month, the difference between what your insurance pays for and what real health care looks like here in the Santa Clarita Valley. If you're willing to do that, I'd love to have you come in, be my guest. And if you're not ready yet, you need some more information, please join us over at the Friendly Valley Annex in about an hour at 2 p.m. for our Elegant Aging workshop. It's free to the public. So come on over to Friendly Valley Annex at 2. And if you are willing to get started, give the office a call, 753-9340. Talk about the Elegant Aging program, and we'll get you in for a complimentary total body scan. That's one thing we didn't get to talk about with our guest, Jerry Cerati Goldman, today, about how we found out what areas she needed to improve her bone health. You've been listening to the Dr. Polucki Family Health Hour. Up next is Carrie Caution with Families in Action. And remember, your health are your choices. What kind of choices are you going to make this week to stay as healthy as possible? We'll see you next week.